Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, September 13th, 2025, we're looking again at a story that's still developing. The deadly thing that happened between ICE officers and Silverio Villegas-Gonzalez in Franklin Park, a suburb of Chicago. Yesterday, September 12th, what looked like a normal traffic stop turned into a fight for life. One man ended up dead and an officer was badly hurt. It's not just a local story, but a small picture of the bigger immigration problems happening all over the U.S. With the new Trump administration's strict rules, new details are coming out, like security camera video and comments from family and supporters. We're trying to understand what happened near Grand Avenue and Elder Lane. Villegas-Gonzalez, who was 38 and from Mexico, had lived in the U.S. for many years. People say he was a dedicated dad and worked hard as a cook in Chicago. His life was cut short when ICE agents, who were part of Operation Midway Blitz in Illinois, stopped him. Officials are saying that he didn't listen to them, sped up his car and drove at the officers, hitting one and dragging him. The officer, fearing for his life, shot and killed him. The injured agent got rushed to the hospital and is now stable, but people are starting to protest and want to know the truth. Was the shooting justified, or was it another case of going too far to secure the border? We'll explore the details, from what witnesses said to how this affects things on a bigger scale. Stay with me for this in-depth look. To get what's going on with these intense operations, it helps to know the bigger picture. Understanding why this happened is key to seeing how big this is. The Trump administration is back and has really stepped up its immigration enforcement, going after criminal aliens like they did in the early 2010s, but even more so now. Just this week, they started Operation Midway Blitz, sending a bunch of ICE agents all over Illinois, focusing on Chicago. Chicago has always had problems with federal immigration people because it's a sanctuary city. They're running things out of the Great Lakes Naval Base and processing people in Broadview. The idea is to catch people with records like DUIs or assaults, but some say it's just a wide sweep that's scaring everyone. Franklin Park, which has a lot of Hispanic people, was the main spot yesterday around 9 a.m. Villegas-Gonzalez wasn't a big-time criminal. He had some reckless driving tickets, nothing major, but because he didn't have papers, DHS thought he was fair game. Local news got surveillance videos that show agents surrounding his car. One went to the driver's side, another to the passenger side. Things got tense when he supposedly refused to get out and then sped off, hitting an officer and dragging him away, according to DHS. Then there were gunshots, and Villegas-Gonzalez was hit, and his car stopped. The FBI is checking things out and blocked off the area. News spread fast on social media. His family said he came from Michoacan looking for a better life and has kids here who are now facing a huge loss. With Mexican Independence Day coming up in Chicago, the timing is really bad and is making people worry about racial profiling and heavy-handed policing in areas with lots of immigrants. Let's talk about the human side of this. Behind all the badges and borders are real people, and their stories matter. Silverio Villegas-Gonzalez wasn't just another number. He was a 38-year-old dad and a cook who probably made tons of meals in Chicago. Like many immigrants, he worked hard and helped drive the American economy. He came from Michoacan, a part of Mexico that's been hit hard by cartels and economic problems. He'd been living in Illinois for years. His family said he had kids born in the U.S., which might have protected him under older rules. But with the current zero-tolerance approach, those family ties didn't matter. The Mexican consulate in Chicago is involved, confirming who he was, promising to help his family, and asking for a full investigation. A relative told reporters he worked hard. He wasn't a criminal. Community leaders protesting yesterday agreed. Groups that fight for immigrant rights, like the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, say this kind of operation is bad for the community. They pointed out similar situations from only a few months ago, like a farm worker hurt while running from a greenhouse and someone else hit by a car in LA, to show how risky these raids can be. In Franklin Park, people are worried. Schools are handing out guides about your rights, and some families are staying home because they're afraid of raids. And what about the ICE officer who got hurt? It shows that trying to enforce these laws has a cost for everyone. He was dragged on the road and could have lasting injuries. Advocates are pushing for the release of body camera video, but DHS hasn't agreed to it yet. This whole thing shows how tough and delicate the situation is with immigration in America. Yesterday, the reaction was huge, showing how split America is on immigration. The Department of Homeland Security's Tricia McLaughlin backed up the agents, saying the officer did what they were trained to do, used the right amount of force, and kept everyone safe. She said it was social media and activists causing problems, making it sound like ICE is under attack. The statement said Villegas-Gonzalez didn't listen to orders, drove his car into the team, and dragged the officer, which is why they shot him. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker wants a full, honest explanation to be open about what happened. This shows that Illinois is against the federal government going too far. Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates went even further, saying the shooting is an example of the fear ICE uses against our communities with their aggressive methods. State Representative Norma Hernandez had an angry press conference, calling it terrible and accusing ICE of increasing racial profiling, which makes people lose trust and feel unsafe. The FBI is involved, adding serious attention to the matter. They said there's no wider threat to the public and that they're helping with the investigation. The Mexican government is keeping a close watch and might bring it up in talks with the U.S. protesters, with signs that said "End the raids" and "Justice for Silverio," argued with Trump supporters online, who praised the agents as protecting the law. All these different opinions show how complicated things are. States like Illinois are pushing back against federal rules, which could lead to court fights. As investigations continue and people review surveillance videos of the initial stop, but not the entire dragging incident, the demand for someone to be held responsible is growing. This shooting is more than meets the eye. It has major global immigration policy implications. ICE is bragging about the early arrests they've made during Operation Midway Blitz. They say they're catching people who've committed serious crimes. But what about the people who are affected? Some critics say these operations impact Latinos the most, creating a scary environment for them in which a simple traffic violation has deadly results. In a city like Chicago, where immigrant communities are thriving, this could change everything. People might stop going to work, and kids might stop going to school if they are scared. If workers get deported, this creates holes in essential industries, cooks, construction workers, etc., which causes a shortage during post-pandemic recovery. The U.S. and Mexico have a strained relationship. People are fleeing violence only to face danger here. This is forcing Mexico to rethink how they work with the U.S. on cartels and trade. Europe is also experiencing migration issues. Some countries have hardline policies similar to Trump's wall rhetoric. Climate change is causing more people from Latin America to move north, but they keep running into fortified borders. People in minority communities are losing trust in law enforcement. If police stops are going to result in more shootings, people will stop working with the police. There's been a push for reform. People want de-escalation training, community control, and a path for long-term residents to citizenship. But with midterm elections coming up, the politicians are using these incidents as a political tool. Surveillance footage shows how the agents approach the subject. However, it cuts before the chaos. The event in Franklin Park could lead to big changes or cause even more problems in our divided society. Let's look at how these operations work. Seeing how ICE does things can explain why situations get out of hand. Agents usually drive normal cars and use info from databases that track immigration issues and criminal records. In the Villegas-Gonzalez situation, his driving violations caused him to get stopped during the operation. Training focuses on calming things down, but when decisions have to be made super fast, like if a car speeds up or an officer gets trapped, using force is almost certain. DHS says it teaches self-defense, and the agent who was dragged likely shot because he felt his life was in danger. Some people are asking if there were other choices. Why not use spike strips or blockers instead of shooting right away? Security cameras from nearby stores show the beginning. Agents surrounding the car, shouting orders, but the key part of the dragging and shooting is out of view. That's why people want body cameras. Local police weren't involved, leaving it to the feds, which shows the problems with who has authority in sanctuary areas. The bigger picture is that Operation Midway Blitz is planned like a military operation. It uses a naval base as a staging area and processes people fast, similar to how counterterrorism operations work worldwide, but it's being used for migration. Other places like Europe or Australia have similar offshore projects processing that's controversial, just like U.S. detention centers. For families like Silverio's, what happens after is awful. They get help from their consulate to return, face legal fights over their things, and the kids are traumatized, dealing with a system that left them without parents. Yesterday's protests grew near the location, and the chants combined sadness and anger, with organizers saying this is because of racism in the system. So far today, September 13th, there haven't been any new arrests or big news, but the FBI's forensics might find problems. Looking at the tactics shows a system stressed by politics, where both agents and immigrants suffer. Okay, so this whole thing is causing some big waves in Chicago. It's really changing how people in the community are acting, especially in those diverse neighborhoods. Those immigrant areas were already nervous because of those raid warnings going around on WhatsApp. Now people are getting even more paranoid. Parents are keeping their kids home and stores are closing early. Even the Mexican Independence Day parades might be smaller or have more security. It's like the fun is turning into worry. The Chicago Teachers Union is saying this is hitting students hard, especially those from families with mixed immigration status. They see ICE as something to be really scared of. Financially, losing workers like Villegas-Gonzalez is a blow. Chicago's food scene needs immigrant workers, and if they're not there, prices could jump, or places could shut down. This is happening all over the world with migrants, like the Rohingya in Bangladesh and Syrians in Turkey. When you crack down on people, it makes things shaky. Back in the States, this is fueling anti-immigrant feelings in some states, while making others fight back. It could even change who votes in elections. Lawyers are saying there could be lawsuits, like the family suing for wrongful death or someone challenging if Operation Blitz is even legal. Some security camera videos might back up one side or the other, depending on what they show. The officer who got hurt is getting better, which is one good thing in all this mess. People are pushing for community help, like legal help and funds, to help deal with the aftermath. This whole situation makes you think about what we care about as a society. Do we put people first or borders? People are arguing about it online, and it's putting pressure on politicians to change things. Internationally, this shooting makes the already shaky U.S.-Mexico relationship even worse. What with the trade problems and cartel issues, the Mexican consulate is getting involved and might use this to get something out of it, like better treatment for migrants or teamwork to stop traffickers. Because Villegas-Gonzalez was from Michoacan, it shows how problems in Mexico cause people to leave, and U.S. policies aren't helping since people who get deported put a strain on Mexico's resources. Bigger groups like the UN are paying close attention and calling out the U.S. on human rights because of the increase in anti-immigrant feelings. When you look at how Australia handles boats, or how Europe deals with patrols in the Mediterranean, it seems like everyone's trying to build walls. The money that immigrants in the U.S. send home to Mexico, which is a lot each year, could go down if there are more raids, which would hurt families and the economy. All of this makes Latin America dislike the U.S. even more, making it hard to team up against China or work on climate deals. At home, this event is heating up the local political scene. Trump supporters like the strict approach, but people in Illinois who are still loyal to Biden are fighting back, which could end up in the Supreme Court to decide who has the power. Today's updates include meetings between the consulate and the family, but nothing's been resolved. Looking at surveillance footage might give us more info, like how fast the cars were going or where the officers were standing, which could change the story. There are protests planned for today, September 13th, and these could connect to bigger movements for migrant rights around the world. This global view shows how something bad that happened in one suburb can affect things everywhere, forcing countries to figure out how to be safe but also show kindness. What's next? People are making guesses as the investigations get bigger. The FBI is in charge of a large investigation that could take weeks. If the body cam videos come out, they could clear up what happened when the person was dragged, which could either calm people down or make them even angrier. For ICE, this could mean they look at their own rules and maybe start doing more training on how to chase people in cars or using tools that don't kill, so this doesn't happen again. The family of Villegas-Gonzalez is thinking about suing, saying the police used too much force. The officer could get in trouble if the videos don't match what he said. Governor Pritzker might get more involved and stop the state from helping ICE, which would make the fight between the state and federal government worse. People in the community will probably hold vigils tonight to mourn and protest. Groups like the coalition will probably ask for amnesty. Mexico might make giving aid dependent on changes and have an impact on border talks. If the raids continue, it could be harder to find workers in Chicago, which could make wages go up but slow down the economy. To help people heal, they need to talk to each other. Town halls could help agents and immigrants understand each other. As of September 13th, not much has changed, but there are rumors that more videos might be released. This look ahead is a reminder that change often comes from bad things, whether it's changes to the rules or changes to how people people think. What changes do you all think should happen? Leave a comment. Your ideas help make our coverage better. Okay, so that's it for today, everyone. But keep this Franklin Park shooting in mind. It really shows how global politics hits real people hard. Look at Silverio Villegas-Gonzalez's family and that ICE officer who's getting better. Their lives are changed forever, and it really points to why we need fair immigration changes. Operation Midway Blitz is still happening, and they might pick up a lot more people. So stay alert, keep up with the news, help out the people who are affected, and get involved. You can vote, give money to rights groups, or just share people's stories. We all have a part in making things better. Thanks for watching this long look at things. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Turn on notifications too. Tell us what you think in the comments. What do you think about how ICE works? See you next time. Get the facts, care about each other, and remember, the news is about real people. Later.